Welcome, everybody, to the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez. Alden Iawani, as always, doing our directing. And we're going to have a busy show here today. We got some special guests coming up. Going to talk some arena football. The CIF championship completed, and the Duke City Gladiators, Ed, winning another championship.
Well, back-to-back, 35-29, and the game went down to the last second. Literally the last second, the last play. Romel Brown scoring a touchdown that was later reviewed, but he was found to have gotten in the end zone. So back-to-back championships for Dominic Bramante. We had him on here last week. I happened to talk to him a little bit yesterday, and he was ecstatic. I think what he said last year was he was relieved. This year he was going to try and enjoy it a little bit more. Mm-hmm. He's just a great guy, right? I mean, he talks about wonderful human beings. He talked about Vernon Kuntz, the on-field guy, the guy that does all the promotions and gets the crowd hyped up as being a wonderful human being. So is he. Coach Bramante is a great guy.
Right.
The more you talk to him, the more I get a good feeling about him as a person. And, we joked about big-timing people, and, we joked about that before the show started last week. He doesn't big-time anybody. He really doesn't. And I think he's a wonderful, he has wonderful contributions to the community. And, you know what? I just think he has so much to offer, and he has delivered on a back-to-back championship. It's hard enough to win one. And you know that. The road to any championship is pockmarked with things you can't control. Injuries, a lot of other things. He lost Donovan Portery. He brings in Robert Kent. That worked, right? He said it only works, he said, if we win a championship. They did. So I think there's a lot of things. He's got to be the coach of the year. I think they might have named the Salina Liberty coach the coach of the year, and I think he deserved it too. But Coach Bramante's got to be in the discussion and consideration for back-to-back championships.
Let's take a look at the game. We'll take a look at the stats here, and man, it was a defensive struggle, Ed, as we'll look at the graphic here momentarily, but it's not one of those games where there was a lot of yardage for either side.
No, there wasn't. I think they limited Andrew Jackson, the Salina quarterback, to 123 yards passing. So the Gladiator defense, which has been stout all season long, certainly did its job.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was a very, very tight game at the Tingley Coliseum, and man, I'll tell you what an effort. I mean, going down to the last second, winning that game. It was a home game, but we talked to Coach Bramante last week. Home didn't matter.
It didn't. What he said was it's going to come down to the team that makes the least mistakes, and here we go.
And you look at this. Duke City finishes 11-3, and they had kind of a rough patch earlier in the year, Ed, and then they just went on a roll. But Robert Kent, 13 of 23, 128 yards, 2 touchdowns. Romello Brown, 14 carries, 46 yards, 3 TDs, and that's one of the things that Coach Bramante was talking about last week, what he brings to the table. Dello Davis, no touchdowns, but 53 yards catching, and Cedric Johnson, 4 receptions, 29 yards, and a score.
Well, if you look at the final stats, neither team lit it up offensively. Duke City with 218 yards of total offense, and Salina had 185 yards. So both defenses and Andrew Jackson actually threw for 142, but the Duke City defense definitely did their job. And if you look at Robert Kent's, he only had 128 yards passing. Dello Davis.
Actually, I think that was inverted. I think he had 218. But I'm sorry. No, I'm sorry. It was 128. Yeah, okay. 218 total yards.
So the Salina defense did their job. Dello Davis had to sit out a league-mandated suspension for the first half. Him and the Salina Liberty player had to sit out the first half. So Dello Davis comes back and still has 3 receptions for 53 yards.
That would answer why the numbers were down.
Right, that he had to sit out the first half.
Because I've looked at the numbers and I'm thinking that's awfully low for him.
Yeah, he had to sit out the first half, and there's some highlights here.
Yeah, we'll go to the highlights here, and the guys put together an outstanding highlight package, by the way. Had a chance to look at this online, and it was just, that play was kind of indicative of the way the game went, just a grinded out kind of game.
I looked at Romel Brown, I think 14 for 46. And as you mentioned, just the grinded out tough yards inside. And there's Landry Brody, the offensive coordinator. There's Kent. And that's a great play, a great draw for Sherman Carter, the center of the team, and he gets a touchdown.
Yeah, Sherman Carter on a touchdown there, and it was 28-23.
Look at that catch in
And
the back of the
yeah,
end zone there.
beautiful catch in
Wow.
the back of the end zone. Man, I'm telling you what, that was just unbelievable.
There's another unbelievable catch. Two great catches there.
So the Gladiators just kept coming back, and it was one of those inspired games, but that was the go-ahead touchdown right there that won the game for the Duke City Gladiators. And here's the last play of the game, and it went down to this, Ed. Wide open in the end zone, and just barely missed. That's how close of a game this was. What an outstanding game, and if you were part of the fans in attendance for this one, you saw a treat.
You know what? What better way to win it? There's the celebration, and I think Mayor Keller's there right behind Coach Bramante, along with State Auditor Brian Colon. So you had the who's who with Coach Bramante and lifting up that trophy. Look how happy Coach is with one of his assistants there.
It's an awfully big cigar there, Ed.
Hey, you know what? You remember back in the day when Red Auerbach would light one up
Right?
in the Celtics. That's bigger than Red Auerbach cigar.
Yes, it is.
Michael Jordan had
That's what I'm
big
saying.
cigars. That's a bigger cigar than that. And Sebastian Noel did a great job on the call as always. So you know what? And there's the champagne that accompanies any championship run by any team. So what a great job by the Duke City Gladiators in winning back-to-back championships.
Yeah, absolutely. This was the part that I loved watching online last night, was the fact that they actually had locker room celebration footage.
You know what? You don't get much of that, right? That's
No.
kind of a private thing. It's a team thing. And when the team wins, of course, you get that.
I mean, on the big stage you get, like
NBA.
big networks, that's part of the contract actually, but the fact that the guys here were able to get it, that's awesome.
I think so too. You know what? Afterward, again, you could tell everybody's ecstatic about. It's a lot of pressure to win one, and then you're the defending champs, and you're defending at home, and it's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of things that, like Coach Bramante said, could go wrong. And you know what? It doesn't get any better than winning. The play went down to the last second. Salina, the guy drops the pass, and they could have tied the game there. So, hey, congratulations. Hats off to the Duke City Gladiators.
Now, in arena football, it might be a little tougher to gauge this because some people look at it, some people don't. Time of possession, 35.35 for Duke City, 24 minutes and 25 seconds for Salina. So that means 11 minutes just about more Duke City had the ball and have still down to the last play.
Well, you know what? Time of possession usually tells you something, right? And you're right. That's 11 more minutes, but it was still a close game. Both defenses played very, very well. And Duke City got the job done with when they needed to. What a great run there by Romel Brown to score. And again, you mentioned a grinded out day, and that was a grinded out 2 yards right there. A very tough 2 yards at the left corner there at the end zone. And Duke City, again, what a great job they did.
What Coach Bramante did say, and they ended up doing, they wanted to control the ball and keep it out of Salina's hands, and they did that.
No, they did an outstanding job of that. I think the defense for Duke City, as we mentioned, they allowed a league-low rushing yardage all season long. He mentioned Fatu Alale, Brent Bowers, Jason Serta, Freddie Griggs had 8 interceptions this year. So you think about the playmakers they had on defense. They really had a lot. And then he mentioned Dello Davis, Cedric Johnson, Robert Kent, Romel Brown, Sherman Carter, the anchor on the offensive line. He gets in and scores a touchdown. How big is that? I mean, you don't see offensive linemen scoring a lot of touchdowns, and Sherman Carter has been here with Duke City, I think, since they started. So just an outstanding back-to-back championships for Duke City.
And Jason Serta, well, he had 12 tackles, 10 solo. So how about him?
Well, he just walked into the left of us, man, and I'll tell you what, that's an impressive man right there. I would not want to be hit by him, I'll tell you that for sure. So we'll talk to him.
It's probably the first time he's had a smile on his face for about 6 months, too.
Wearing the championship ring of last year. Oh,
Nice.
man, he's going to definitely sport that. And
Yeah, he
I
is.
think one of the things, Derwin Williams used to play football here for UNM before you came. He played for New England, the New England Patriots, and he was part of that AFC championship team. He would come to play basketball at UNM at Johnson. He showed us that championship ring, the AFC championship ring. Man, I remember being like, wow. So Jason's got that championship ring on now, and he's going to have another one for the other hand, and it doesn't get any better than that. So can't wait to talk to him.
That's pretty cool. So why don't we go ahead and step away here. We'll take our first break, and we'll come right back with some special guests here on the Sports Desk. First, the top 10 plays of the week.
So we're going to bring them all in.
And we're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez, the man to my left. We have Aldani Iwani, our fine director. We have a couple of guests here in the studio. First of all, we have Dominic Bramante, the head coach of the Duke City Gladiators. He won't be on the air with us today because we're going to have a couple of players, and it starts with a Monsanto grad, Jason Serta. Show off your ring there, would you? That's last year's ring, by the way, so that's pretty doggone cool, huh?
Very impressive. I love it. Anytime I see a championship ring, and again, it's a grind to win one, right? You just won back-to-back, so anytime I see it, I still get goosebumps, man, because, I wasn't part of it, but I love to watch championships and how they evolve.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I love about you on the field, you're a defensive stat waiting to happen. It seems like your stats were low in this game, lower than what they normally are, because every time it's like what you do is phenomenal. So congratulations on that. But the other day, 12 total tackles, 10 solo, 2 for loss, and a fumble recovery.
Yes,
You're
sir.
kind of busy when you're on the field. So talk about, what your philosophy is and how you get the job done individually and as a team.
Don't really focus on the stats, just as long as we get the job done and whatever it takes. And usually, if you're doing the things right, the stats just keep adding up.
Right. How do you know when and where to position yourself? Do you kind of have an idea what they're running, or do you just kind of make the right guesses? Because it seems like you're everywhere on the field.
We prepare pretty well. We know what they're gonna do, so we just try to put ourselves in the best position, and you always gotta be able to adjust too on the fly. Like it's never you could prepare, but team's always gonna throw different stuff at you and show stuff you haven't seen yet. You just gotta be ready to read and react.
You're far too humble, sir, I think. But I'll tell you one thing. Coach Bramante has talked about, again, the evolution of this Gladiator defense. I covered the team 2 years ago, and when Coach, and he mentioned this too, he's been able to get big five, big conference, big power conference players to come here. So when he got Brett Bowers, Fatu Alale, Fred Griggs had 8 interceptions this year, and he added that, and you're there. Talk about this Gladiator defense, because this is a very stingy defense, and you guys set the tone for every game. You said it again on Saturday. Outstanding performance. But talk about you being a part of that. Again, you've been a part of this defense 3-4 years now, and you're a very key part of what the Gladiators do. So talk about the overall, development of this defense.
Yeah, Coach B does a great job year in, year out putting pieces together. Last year we had a pretty good piece, and we kind of kept like the core together with Fred and Bowers, Fatu, and me, and it's just we all just mesh really good, and we know what it takes, and just gotta perform.
And you certainly did. I'll tell you one thing, and I think a lot of people that haven't seen an arena game, right? It's explosive plays in constricted areas. Fans are right there, man. I saw Cedric makes a great catch in the end zone, one-handed, and the fans are right there. I don't know how you can't get excited about that. Talk about the arena game a little bit and how it's different than the game that you played at Manzano. Talk about that.
Arena, man, is I think it's so much better for the fans. You're actually right on the field. If a ball is overthrown, you're getting a ball in your lap. And like said, you're right in action. You can see them one-handed catch right into the fans. And it's just more interaction with the fans. They have games on like timeouts for the fans to come down to the field and just be part of the game.
As part of the adjustment, what do you need to do from Manzano, the 11-man outdoor game, to arena football? Both as a team and individually, what are the adjustments? Because the field's smaller and there's less players, but you don't have a lot of room out there. Defensively, what do you need to do?
It's just a lot faster. I think this game of the speed. Outdoor, if you make a mistake, you have 100 yards to catch them. Indoor, you make one mistake, they're scoring right on you. So it's just a lot quicker, and then it's just different rules. The arena game favors the offense so much, just the way because they want it to be exciting, high scoring. So defense, it's really a challenge for the defense to stop these offenses in arena ball.
How did this game become a defensive struggle then? Because I thought it was going to be a high-scoring game. And it was totally the opposite, like we mentioned before you guys came on board. Grinded out kind of game, which you don't see a lot.
It's just two great teams. I think we prepared really well for each other, and that's why it was such a chess match.
Right.
You know, I think, okay, this is your third meeting with Salina, right? You split. What was the feeling going into the game? You know, we talked to Coach Bramante last week, and Coach Bramante said it was going to come down to the team that made the least mistakes. Right down to the wire. They, at the buzzer, they drop a pass, man. So what was your feeling going into this third match with Salina?
They actually they beat us earlier in the year at their house, so we knew they had the potential to beat us. We the last time we played them, last regular season game, we won by like 20, but so we knew if we didn't play well, what would happen, and we knew what could happen if we did play well.
Yeah,
So
Coach Bramante, he mentioned that, and it sounded like he had you well prepared, though, man. It sounded like you guys were ready for. And again, you limited. Every time I hear the name Andrew Jackson, I was thinking of the president. I was thinking President Andrew Jackson, but you limited him to 142. 142, and you mentioned offenses dominate in this arena game, so limiting a good quarterback like Andrew Jackson to 142 yards is pretty much tells the story there.
Yes, sir, it does. He's a great quarterback. He played last year for the Revolution. He knows the game, and just got to adjust. Just keep fighting, and hope. And it turned out well for us.
Now, Ed mentioned Andrew Jackson. The stat that I love is Tracy Brooks, 19 yards on 10 carries. He was their big rusher coming in, so obviously he was a key. What did you guys do against him?
He's a great running back. I felt like if we were going to win, we were going to have to limit him. And he's one of their best running backs in the league. So I took it as a personal challenge. If we were going to win this game, I would have to limit his yards and his carries.
You know what? When I think about a personal challenge and you coming to hit someone with that build, thank God it's not me, man. I wouldn't want to kid it. You know, that's a challenge that you took on and did very well. Now I got to ask you this: 2 championships in a row, right? Any dreams about getting a shot at an NFL camp, things like that? I mean, everybody's got dreams and aspirations, right? Everybody does. You're at a good level now. You won 2 in a row. Any dreams about maybe getting a call from an NFL team and go to camp with them?
Oh, yes, sir. That's the main goal. It's been my goal since I was 8 years old. And someday I want to be on an NFL team, but I'm glad what I've accomplished here in Duke City, and I think we got a great thing going here.
What was the difference between winning this year and last year? And talk a little bit while you've been here, the growth of the team, both in the community and on the field.
So last year it was just like anything you had to do to get there, and then this year, since we won it, we had a target on our back. Every team is gunning for us. So it was so much harder this year, I felt like, to repeat than it was to win the actual one last year. And then just the growth from our program, I've been here since day one. I remember we would have 100 to 200 fans in the stadium. We were sharing jerseys. We didn't even have trainers. We were taping ourselves up. We had matching helmets. And now look at us now. We're champions. We have packed stadiums. We have best equipment, best trainers, best owners, best coaches, best everything now.
Took a little while for the Duke City to embrace the Gladiators, and they have. I think one of the things that Scott always says is, if you win, they will come, right? And now 4,000 to 5,000 at Tingley, when, as you mentioned, it was 900, 700 back in the day. But it's a great product, right? It's exciting. Coach Monte mentioned all the front office people and the people that work for the organization are top-notch people as well. That helps. So I think you're right. It's a great thing that you have going here. And man, when you win back-to-back, winning one's hard. People don't understand that. It's like, oh, what people, when they talk about championships at the pro level, oh, why don't they win? It's not that easy. It's not. There's so many variables that you can't control. Coach Bramante said this on the show the other day. It's 100% sure so you're going to get hurt if you play that game, right? 100% sure. So if someone key goes down, how are we going to replace them? And Coach went to Robert Kent midway through the season. He said it only means something if we win it. You did, good decision, right? That's why he's the man in charge. So there's so many things on the way to any championship that can go wrong. And you won 2 in a row, man. Awesome.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Appreciate that.
So what's next?
I just want to enjoy this victory, and then we'll see after that. It's still brand new to me, so I just want to enjoy it with my teammates and my family, and we'll see in a week or 2.
Jason, congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Show off the ring one more time. That's all. That is awesome. Jason Serta from the Duke City Gladiators, our guest. We'll take a break and come right back with another special guest on the Sports Desk. We are back here on the Sports Desk. I'm Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez, and we are talking Gladiators football right now, and we will bring in another member of the Gladiators, Cedric Johnson, the wide receiver, a little taller than our last guest, Jason Serta, but they're both ferocious, Ed.
Oh, yes. Yeah, they get the job done, and both in different ways, but they're key parts of the Gladiator team and organization.
Well, Cedric, 4 catches, 29 yards, and a touchdown the other day, and that touchdown was a thing of beauty.
Yes. No, we had to do whatever it takes to win. You know, it was a key point of the game. You know, we had drove it down. I had to finish. You know, we had to find a way to finish. Ken threw me a good ball. I had to find a way to catch it.
Tell the people what you were just saying off the air about what kind of game this was, and we're going to show the catch right here. This was unbelievable. You had to bobble it, you finally got it, and somehow you caught it. Yeah. And, you know, just everything going on in this game was marvelous.
Yes. It was the ultimate team game. Defense helped the offense out when we needed help, and vice versa, the offense helped the defense out when they needed it. It was the ultimate team game. you had to have special teams too. Special teams came through. We had some big stops in the special team games too. So.
Let's take a look at the graphic here to show what happened in the game. The Duke City Gladiators winning this game. It was a close one. 35-29 was the final score. And you see the numbers there, Cedric. Robert Kent, 13 of 23, 128 yards with 2 touchdowns. And how about your running back Brown with 14 carries, 46 yards, and all he did was 3 touchdowns.
Hey, it was big. Like I said, we needed the passing game, run game. Everybody had to block. You know, you had to do your job. You had to do your 1/8.
Coach Bramante last week said that Brown was going to need a big game, and he did.
He delivered, and he had the game-winning touchdown. So,
Yeah, right.
Hey, so he did his job, and I was so happy that he got in that end zone.
Now, Dello Davis, I didn't realize this until the beginning of the show. He did all this in 1 half, 3 receptions, 53 yards, and guy in the bottom of the screen there did a pretty good job as well. That'd be you.
Well, we all did. We all did our part. You know, Dello. You know, he's a big, impactful player. You know, he does in the special teams game too. Also does jet sweeps and everything else that you ask him. So, you know, you just got to do your part.
Now, you say the ultimate team game, and it was because offense, defense came up big, but how does that differ from a normal game?
A normal game is just by the season, the last 3 games we had, more of that first time, that last time we played Salon before the championship game, before the season ended. It was more of the defense helping the offense out, you know. Defense kept coming through, actually scoring points. Mm-hmm. And then that game, that first playoff game we had, you know, it was offense. You know, was going back-to-back scores
right.
with Amarillo. This game right here, it was some defense was helping us out. Sometimes we was helping the defense out. So that's how this game was. I felt like it was all together this game. So that's what I mean by ultimate team.
Yeah, to win the game with 35 points, especially what you did against Amarillo, that's a total opposite game.
Total opposite, but that's our 3rd time playing each other, so we know what each other's going to do,
Right.
especially on the offensive end, you know. And defense know what you're going to do, and they're as talented as they was on defense, we had to, you know, adjust, figure things out. It was just as hard for us as it was for them, so.
Cedric Johnson, our guest here on the Sports Desk. You don't have a ring like Jason did.
Well, I got back-to-back. I just didn't bring it like Serta did, you know. So it's a blessing to be back-to-back. Like I told Coach, it's my first time being a back-to-back champ. I done won rings and different things, but never back-to-back. It's so hard to be back-to-back. Like, you got a big target on your back.
Right.
You know, Cedric, again, that first catch in the end zone, David Tyree-like, pinning it to your helmet. You know, David Tyree pinned it with 2 hands, but you pinned it with 1 hand. Talk about the play call in the huddle, and then you got another touchdown. Now Robert Kent threw it where only you could catch it. Great throw. Talk about the play call in the huddle. Then you score another one later in the game. But talk about the first one.
He put me backside, because usually I'm front side on that play. He put me backside and said, I want you to run the fade. You got to win. I'm like, okay, I knew the ball was coming. One-on-one coverage. I knew it was coming, so I knew the pressure was on. I knew Ken was going to give me a good ball. He said, the ball's coming. So just make a play. And I did, and then we had that 2-point conversion. Open up like the Red Sea in the middle of the field. Ken threw it in the right spot. I caught it.
Let me ask you this too, Cedric, because Dello Davis, one of the team's best receivers, had to serve a league-mandated suspension for the first half. You knew that going into the game. Did you feel any extra pressure? That, Dello's one of your better players.
Yes.
Any extra pressure there?
You know, it's always pressure when you lose one of your best players, even just for a half. You know, but you got to carry the weight. You got just the next man up mentality. That's what Coach B always preach, and so that's what we did. Speedy DC, that's his name. He came in and played a big role. He stepped in and he carried that weight for that first half, and we adjusted very well. And like you said, our running back, we had a great run game. Brown, hey, he did his job. You know, he held us down.
He grinded it out, 46 yards, 24. It's tough yards, right? Those are tough yards, but those are the yards you need in a championship game like that where the defenses are dominating. So he did his job.
Most definitely, he did it.
Now, Adam Deal's here. Is that the trophy?
That was my fantasy football trophy.
Oh, I thought that was the actual trophy. Well, let's bring a trophy and get it in here anyway. So we
Man.
got to show off a trophy. I thought
Yeah.
that was the actual league trophy, but
Adam
Deal's
Deal
got a
making an
trophy.
appearance.
We'll show you
Yeah.
a trophy.
Okay, I like it. I like it. I like it.
You get that for fantasy football? If you get that for fantasy football, let me know. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
man.
I want to get in that league.
Bruises did he have?
Yeah. Man.
Coach Bramante asked
Yeah.
how many bruises did he need to win to get that trophy or get to win that trophy. But Cedric Johnson is our guest here, and let's talk about what it means to win this again.
That means a lot, especially for the community. I'm part of the community now. I'm a Duke
Yeah,
City.
I'm glad that you brought that up because we were supposed to ask you about that.
Yes, I'm part of the community now, man. I know when I first got here, just like my 4th year playing for Coach B, not too many people I say, yeah, I play for the indoor professional team here, the Gladiators. So like, Gladiators, who is that? And now I wear a shirt or anything. They're, oh, you play for the Gladiators? You know the Gladiators? I'm like, yeah. So I'm glad how the Duke City supports his team. I love how we done grew. It's so crazy. I actually feel like I'm a celebrity somewhat now when I go in the store and I wear my Gladiator stuff. I love this city so
Well,
much.
that's the thing that I wanted to ask you also, kind of what I asked Jason, from when you first got here to now, the growth of the franchise and just the way you're seen in public.
Yes.
What's the difference?
It's night and day, from not knowing you to, like, can I get tickets y'all next game?
Right.
Especially here, I had tickets. I've had like 20 tickets, and by the end of the day, I have none. I had to go to Miss Gina's office to get some more tickets. So it's just amazing how it grows so fast,
Now, how has the league grown? Because the other thing that we don't talk about as much, the league has grown. Even though it only
Yes,
still has
yes.
8 teams, the quality of the product continues to get better and better, and it's always been good.
Yes, I got fortunate enough to play at Dallas Stadium, their practice facilities this year, So just by that example right there, last year we wasn't in no type of situations like that. Coach Harbaugh came to one of our games this year. So you can just by those little things right there, you can know the league's growing. When you see people like that, or you're getting to play in buildings like that, you see the league got to be growing for you to be able to play and do things like that.
77 catches for 19 touchdowns this year. Robert Kent comes in the draft from the Texas Revolution, who folded.
Yeah.
Now talk about him a little bit because you went. Coach Bramante moved on from Donovan Portery, and you got a veteran quarterback there.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know the receivers. He has to come in. But talk about the job he did in leading the Gladiators to the back-to-back championship.
I call him Papa Kent, man. That's the respect I got for that man. He does everything, man. From when I first picked him up and drove with me, I was going 40 miles per hour. And the speed limit was 35. He was like, slow this car down, man. Hey, we're going too fast, man. So as that, man, you got to respect that, man, and what he brings to the table and the energy he brings to practice. That's where it started. The first time he came out from the airport, he came from the airport to practice.
Nice.
And he already had the lead of the team already, just by when he stepped on the field. And that's how he carried himself. He's a great man. I have nothing but respect for that man. And we were blessed to get him. We were so blessed to get him.
Got kind of a awkward delivery, kind of sidearms a little bit. Did that take you any time at all to adjust to that? I mean, Donovan Portery throws, he's a rifle, right?
Yeah.
And Robert Kent throws a little bit different. Did that take any time, kind of adjustment?
More of those no-look passes where he could be looking that way and he's throwing it right here. So many times in practice he got me with that. I swear I thought you was throwing to Dello. He was throwing to me over here. It's just crazy.
Now, one of the things that you said, though, on the touchdown and on the 2-point conversion, hey, I'm going to get you the ball, and how he gets the ball right to you.
Right.
Was he that way from day one, or did it take a little adjustment?
It took some time, it took some time, but just by off of pure talent, we was able to adjust and still be able to win with it. But by the end of the season, we really had got on the same page.
Because that touchdown took 2 things. He had to get the ball to you perfectly, and you had to do the perfect juggle to catch the ball basically out of bounds.
Yeah, exactly. He put it where only I could get it. He had did that prior before that. Last time we played Solana, he put it right over the wall where a fan came up to him and was like, it almost hit me in the face. I thought it was going to hit me. He put it right over the wall where only I could reach and get it. So
Nice.
It's a great quarterback.
Talk about Landrick Brody a little bit. Coach Bramante mentions him as a Lobo legend And talk about Landrick Brody, the offensive coordinator. He's got a lot of pieces, a lot of different pieces coming in to work with. He's done a great job. Talk about him a little bit.
Brody, he's a back-to-back champ too. I remember playing with Brody. I always tell him all the time, I know when you wanted to run the ball on 3rd down and 13, man, and then you're over here calling plays.
Nice.
But Brody's so smart. He knows the game so well. He's always been around the game, so he knows how to give the playmakers the ball. You know, he knows how to give the running back the ball, Brown the ball, Kelly the ball, me the ball, Dello the ball. So you got all these pieces, and he knows how to put them together. It takes a great man to do that, a great offensive coordinator to do that.
So I asked Jason Serta, what's next?
Next, actually, I got a kids camp going on.
Nice.
Yeah, y'all more than welcome to come out. It's at a Ball Strong. Hopefully, y'all can come out, train. We're doing speed and agility.
Cedric, you want to give us the date and times of that?
Actually, 1 o'clock today is going all the way for another to August 1st. Come out, you know, you learn speed, agility, the fundamentals for kids. You know, I'm a kid myself, so I love doing it. That's what I got going on right now.
Where? Where's it at?
At Ball Strong. At Ball Strong, CJ's the prior owner of it. Great place. Great place to work out for adults too. It's a great gym.
Well, congratulations, Cedric.
Thank you.
Great
Thank you.
job,
Appreciate
and
it.
congratulations to the Duke City Gladiators. He's Cedric Johnson. We'll come back with one more segment here on the Sports Desk. We're back here on the Sports Desk. Scott Galetti along with Ed Nunez, all Niawani keeping things together. We have Adam Deal on the sidelines here, and I'll tell you what, he's holding up his proud trophy from his fantasy league. Some of the conversation that goes on during commercial break is probably sometimes better than what we can put on the air, but I mean, it was kind of hilarious just a second ago. But we bring in a guy who didn't want to come on at first because we had him on last week. He wanted to make sure his players came on, but he ended up coming on with us, and that's the head coach, championship head coach, two-time championship head coach of the Duke City Gladiators, Dominic Bramante.
You know, one of the things that Adam Deal, you know, he's very, very proud of that papier-mâché trophy that he's got. You know, I was kind of like, you know, I was feeling the football part of it, thinking it was solid, you know. It's papier-mâché, you know. So when I kissed it there, I left a little slobber on it, and, you know, it moistened,
awesome.
Put a little hole in that football. And he's actually proud of it. You know, he won the 12th Street Championship this year.
Hey, he's a fantasy dynasty.
He's a fantasy in his own mind is what it is. You know, speaking of, he was talking about Coach, you know, congratulations.
Well, after the
he
game,
literally
you mentioned
said,
dynasty, and he was giving you some
well,
rubbing
actually,
about
Sebastian mentioned it, not me.
it. Yeah.
It was
Well,
Sebastian
one of
that
you
brought it
guys
up,
mentioned
yeah.
it. And, yeah.
And, you know, one of the things that Adam was saying, Coach, you got to label a dynasty. I was telling him, Adam, I don't know yet. You know, no, Coach, you got to label it a dynasty. If he's calling himself a fantasy football, you know, dynasty, what are the Duke City Gladiators then, if that's the case? So,
Oh, man.
If we could only see Adam Deal off
Yeah,
camera.
yeah,
This is pretty good TV right now.
No, it's some of the best.
You kind
yeah.
of rattled this cage a little while ago, but I'll give you an opportunity
No, you
to
know,
ask him a question.
in all seriousness,
Jokingly,
yeah. Congratulations, Coach. You know, I texted
Appreciate
you
it.
after the
Appreciate it.
game, and I think, you know, all joking aside, you know, 2 in a row is a wonderful achievement, and I think especially here in Albuquerque, right? Now, we saw the Dukes win some Pacific Coast championships back in the day. They had some success, but if you look at all the teams that have been through here, the Slam, the Geckos, the Chili's, the Thunderbirds, right? These 2 championships back-to-back certainly mean a lot to the community and to the city, there's no doubt. And I think, Coach, you know, having Cedric Johnson and Jason on, those guys are 2 of the best guys you could have, man. I mean, they're champs, right? They're champs, but they're humble, man. You know, and the way they talk about you and the coaching staff, that is, you know, Cedric Johnson referred to you as his second father. And that hit me, man. That did, because you just don't say that to just anybody.
it's humbling.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's humbling. That's the part of our culture. You know, when we say family for a reason. I'm going to tell you what the real turning point was in the season, okay? The turning point is when Sebastian Noel took over as the play-by-play guy. And so when he took over as the play-by-play guy, he brought enthusiasm, passion, emotion, all those things, and it was infectious.
man,
Now,
It was
Ed-
infectious.
Now,
that's-
Ed and I have done. Wait, Ed and I have
Oh,
done games,
man.
but I think that's
Yeah.
a direct dig at the guy who's off camera, Adam Deal. And I don't
Not
know-
at the real deal. You can't mean that, Coach Bramante.
Listen, I love Adam. Everybody knows I love Adam. Everybody. There's not anybody that doesn't know that I love Adam, but you got to call a spade a spade. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, man.
And
Oh,
so
shoot.
Sebastian does such a wonderful job. Ed, you did a great job too
No, I appreciate it.
when you were with us.
I appreciate
We're all about professionalism, and so whether it be in our broadcast, whether it be in our game ops, whether it be on a football field, we care about have a championship presentation, and we couldn't be more thrilled with Sebastian Noel.
Yeah, he does a great job, no doubt.
When we talked last week, Coach, you mentioned it's going to be a tough game. Did you expect it to be this tough?
Absolutely, absolutely. When
I mean, after you
you're
score
talking
70
about-
plus points one game and then 35 and 35 just eked out the game. I mean, that's a nail biter and it's a grinding game.
Well, one of the things that each team's doing, as I mentioned last week, okay, the Amarillo game was a shot-for-shot game. We knew that was going to be a shot-for-shot game because Amarillo didn't have a run game, okay? And so we were going to have to play shot-for-shot with them because when you have a run game, like, say, the way we do, all right, that really increases the percentage of how high you have to score because you're eating up clock with the run game. Okay? You're limiting possessions in the run game. You limit possessions, you're going to limit scores. And when you took Salina and Duke City and put those two teams together who are similar in what they do, I mentioned it in our press conference that I really believe that Salina was the closest thing I've seen to Duke City since, the inception, of us into this league. I knew that, they were going to try to establish the run game. What were we going to do? Try to establish the run game. Little fact, Robert Kent in the second quarter tore his ACL.
Oh, gosh.
And he played the rest of the game. He played 4 quarters of football,
Wow.
which helped establish the run game. So when you're going shot for shot, there are so many people. You saw the effort said that Jason Serta, the unheralded play of Jason Serta. When I say the last play of the game, that back didn't drop that ball. Jason Serta screened him. If you watch that replay, you'll see Jason Serta on that play in the air, 3 feet off the ground, horizontal, off the ground.
Right.
And what happened was he screened the back. So what happens is here comes the ball, here comes Serta, bang. And so the ball got past Serta, but it hit Brooks's hand at the same time. Brooks couldn't control it. Heck of an unheralded
is right
play.
here. Here it is.
Watch Jason Serta fly through the air. You're going to see him. There he drops. See Jason right there? As the play was coming, you got the back coming from this side, the wall receiver coming from this side, and Jason made one heck of an unheralded play to screen the back. So as you could see, when the ball hit the back of Brooks's hand, Brooks didn't know it was there yet. That wasn't a bobble. Watch Jason. See Jason? That was such a bang play. If Brooks would have caught that ball, that would have been a catch of the year. If Brooks would have caught that ball. And so, you had some pretty good great guests on today.
Right.
Some of the reasons why the Duke City Gladiators are back-to-back champions.
Now, you mentioned Robert Kent with an injury. What is it about this town and teams that you've seen? Because a couple of years ago, we all did the state championship, and you saw a player from La Cueva who shouldn't have played but was
Right,
injured.
the quarterback, right.
The quarterback,
I
and
remember.
plays tough. I mean, something about this town that brings out toughness.
This is a game of, no pun intended, gladiators. This is a Spartan game. You play this game. These players understand what's at stake. For the opportunity to be a champion, an opportunity to put that ring on, an opportunity for the banner to be hung. That's a once in a lifetime, even though for us, turned out to be twice in a lifetime,
Right.
twice in 2 years.
Right.
But you can't, when you win a championship, you don't know that you're going back. You don't know because everybody's out to get you. And so what an accomplishment. The accomplishment of this year's championship, not taking anything away from last year's, they're both phenomenal. But you heard Jason tell you, this year was a little more special for him because it was a target on his back this year. That was one thing even I didn't, experience until this year. And so to hang two, wow. It still hasn't sunk in, probably for any of us. It still hasn't sunk in yet.
Tomorrow night, I'm sure it will, when you have your little championship celebration. I would think that would sink in then as far as what you've accomplished and, how you got to the road to get there. Let me ask you this, though. When Robert Kent did tear his ACL, what offensive adjustments did you have to make? I mean, you had to tape him up, right? He goes out there and plays. This is his first championship in arena football? Is this?
He hits his second.
Okay, so it's his second. And you mentioned Cedric referred to him as, Cedric Johnson, your receiver, has a lot of respect for him. I mean,
Papa Kent.
Papa Kent.
Yep.
So, what offensive adjustments did you have to make when that happened, or did you have to make any?
We didn't really make our offensive. The adjustments didn't affect his knee. The really is just to make sure that he was good. There was no way he was going to miss that second half, because of the very reason. Who knows when the next time you're going to get there? And so he just gladiated out, and what it proves is he's the leader that he portrayed. He backed it up. There was no way he was going to let down his brothers. He took over this team when he got here. We were undefeated with Robert,
right.
And he took over and was not going to let his brothers down. Robert Kent, to us, within the Gladiator, within that locker room, will forever be royalty when you talk about playing with a torn ACL the second half of a championship game.
Now, you guys had the big run game, obviously. You talked about that last week. You also talked about the importance, and we got about 30 seconds for the answer. Tracy Brooks, what did you do to him? Because 19 yards, that was your biggest focus when we were on the air a week ago.
That was our biggest focus. We were going to take Brooks out of the game. They were going to have to beat us with another player. Fatu Ulale, Brett Bowers, Anthony Jackson, Dalen Young, and Jason Surter, along with our safeties, Freddie Griggs and Trevor Pugh, our corners, Ibrahim Maiga. And, these guys stopped them. They played downhill. They played aggressive. And, that's the only thing, that really matters. And no one runs the ball against the Dukes of the
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Coach.
Thank you.
And we have to run. Thanks to Alden Iowani. Thanks to Ed Nunez. I'm Scott Galetti. We will talk to you next week on the Sports Desk.